Item 1 or 2.1 when I get my computer going here. Sorry
There are
again.
no updates and information, so we're moving on to 3 discussion items.
Thank you. No updates and information. Item 3, discussion items 3.1, adopt resolution authoring issuance of $1.05 million in water reserve revenue bonds 2024A SRF. Ms. Stern, good evening.
Good evening. This item would adopt a resolution authorizing the issuance of $1,050,000 of 2024A water reserve revenue bonds through the state revolving loan program. This is to finance lead service replacement program, Phase 2, which the council did approve in September. And then in May, the state of North Dakota approved loan forgiveness for us on this project of 75%. So if you recall, this program lets the homeowner hire a contractor, and then they pay 10% up to $1,000. And then the city pays the contractor the 90%, and then turns around and asks the state for reimbursement of 75%. So if you have any questions.
I move approval.
Moved by Osowski, second by Weber. Thank you. Any other comments? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Pose same sign. Motion carries unanimously. Item 3.2, bid award project 8656, intersection improvements, Belmont Road and South Fifth Street, Confusion Corner. Mr. Danielson, good evening.
Good evening. Thank you, President Sandy, members of the committee. So this is the roundabout project down at Belmont Road and Fifth Street. We were awarded $1.3 million for the Urban Grant Program to construct this project. Bids for the project were open on May 10th, a couple weeks ago here. We got 2 bidders. The low bid came in from Op Construction at about $1.57 million. This is about 50% more than our engineer's estimate. So we did do some review of the bids. We had 2 bidders on the project. The other bidder was also local and a little bit higher than Op Construction, but still shows that they were fairly consistent amongst each other. We looked at all the items, tried to see if there was anything we could change, take out in the bids to significantly alter the price, and we had some conversations with the low bidder as well, just to see what their thoughts were on some of the ideas that we had. And ultimately, we came down to just there really isn't anything we can significantly change with this project to change the cost of it. And that kind of stems back to the fact that this is a really tight quarter project, so they can't get some of the heavier duty paving equipment in there that they normally would use. So it's all handwork, which translates to more labor and then just more dollars that way.
I have questions.
Are you open for questions?
Sure.
Mr. Danielson, a question? Ms. Osowski?
Yeah, so we got funding from this, right?
Correct. We have $1.3 million of federal funding to utilize.
1.3 million, and what's the total cost?
The bid
1.5?
came in at 1.57.
Okay. How much does it cost to just put stop signs at that intersection? I mean, right now, it's not a 4-way stop. How much would that cost us?
Our sign shop could
Do it fairly, I guess. I mean, I'll move approval for the bid but I disagree with this project. I don't think it's needed there at all. I think putting 4-way stop would be plenty. I personally don't enjoy roundabouts, but that's my opinion, but I do move approval.
I'll second Mrs. Osowski's
Thanks.
motion.
Mrs. Osowski moves, second by Weber. Further communication or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Pose same sign. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. 3.3 preliminary engineering reimbursement agreement, project 8840, microseal South Washington Street from Demers Avenue to Hammerling Avenue. Mr. Holweger.
Thank you, President
Good evening.
Sandy, members of the committee. The agreement under consideration in front of you tonight is the standard NDDOT agreement for preliminary engineering and construction of this project. The agreement is pretty standard. The city agrees to reimburse the NDDOT for all preliminary engineering expenses incurred if the city terminates or materially reduces the project scope. This was selected and programmed through the Regional Roads Program, where we apply every year for various projects. This project will include improvements to the current asphalt overlay in this section from Demers Avenue to Hammerling Avenue. Current asphalt will be approximately 7 years old at the time of this proposed project. Project is expected to install a thin preventative wear course to keep the life of that section of road going into the future. Total construction cost for this project is currently estimated and programmed at $410,000. With this funding, the split is anticipated to be 80% federal, 10% state, 10% city for all eligible items. Project will be funded through Street and Infrastructure Fund 4815. Due to some accelerated timeline with the Indy DOT and a change in the scope, we originally had $500,000 budgeted in the 2024 city budget in our 6-year CIP. Since that changed from reconstruction to a micro seal, the cost share for us goes down to about $41,000. And due to that, we'll need ask for approval for a budget amendment on that. Construction is expected to take place during the 2025 construction season. So staff recommendation is to approve preliminary engineering reimbursement for this project and any necessary budget amendments.
Thank you, Mr. Hallwegger. Questions or comments? Moved by Osowski. Second by Weber. Further comments?
Well, Mr. Sandy, one quick question. I appreciate, I see the need to do this. I think in time, though, we've got to quit doing the temporary fix and do a permanent reconstruction and just be aware. But I know there's issues with funding availability, so this temporary one is good. We've been doing temporary fixes on here for a while, and at some point in the future, it needs to be done right. But I'm certainly in support of this agreement.
Thank you, Mr. Veen. Further comments? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Mr. Hallwegger, item 3.4, preliminary engineering reimbursement agreement, project 8841, CPR, grinding, dowel retrofit, mill and overlay for Demers Avenue, Washington to North 6th Street and associated ramps. Mr. Hallwegger.
Thank you, President Sandy, members of the committee. This is the same preliminary reimbursement agreement with the Indy DOT. Again, selected through the Regional Roads Program. This will be similar to the CPR project we completed on Demers Avenue in 2016. It'll include concrete panel replacement, dowel bar retrofit, and grinding on Demers Avenue. The overpass will be exempt from that. They just did some CPR work on that in 2021, so that won't be included in this project. Total construction cost for this project is estimated and requested in the 2025 to 2028 STIP for $2,061,000. Again, this is an 80-10-10 city or federal, state, city share. We're looking at approximately $206,100 for our city share. Again, we had $75,000 budgeted for this in the 2024 budget for 2028. The DOT changed the scope and accelerated the timeline again. So they included the mill and overlay of the ramps for the overpass in this scope, which wasn't originally in the scope. So that's why our cost share kind of went up a little bit from that $75,000. So staff recommends approving preliminary engineering reimbursement for this project and a necessary budget amendment that goes with that.
Thank you, Mr. Hallwegger. Moved by Weber, second by Osowski. Further comment?
Mr. Sandy, I'd just repeat the same thing I said last time. This section of street is really bad. It does need to be permanently replaced, but looking at the timeline and the availability of funding, I support the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Veen. Any further comments? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Hallwegger. Nice to see you tonight. Item 3.5, change order G003 and M002, project number 8643, Grand Forks Bus Maintenance Facility Rehabilitation Remodel and Addition Phase 2 Project, Emergency Sanitary Sewer Line Replacement. Mr. Bergman, what happened with the sewer line?
Oh, well, between the soil conditions and having it cambered and everything, and then when we pulled out the fuel tank and repacked the ground, the sewer line collapsed
yeah.
from the underside. So now we're in a real pickle that we need to get this fixed. Yeah, it didn't go well when I told my employees they'd have to use
Porta potty?
porta potties for a while. But yeah, we do need to get this thing fixed, and we've got estimates out there for Innes Construction and Lunseth, which are the current contractors for the plumbing and the construction, to get their bids, and we'll bring it back to you on Monday evening with the costs.
What is that sewer pipe currently made of? What was that,
It's an old clay,
clay pipe, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
and
Not
that's out in
surprising.
that area is an alkali area, and it's also a swamp area when they first built out there.
Right, thank you. Anyone have any comments? Mr. Weber has a question.
I'll second. and then
Motion by
question.
Osowski, second by Weber. Further comment?
There's no federal money to help with this. This is.
We do have federal money available yet.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's, yeah, we should be okay on the budget wise.
Council Vice President Weber, this project's 90% federally paid for, so.
Great.
And we're still under budget, so it's a good deal.
Is there anything else you can break?
I hope not.
Great.
I was looking forward to this being done and
Yeah,
stuff, so.
no kidding. Well, it sure certainly is turning into a good project. The remodel's really impressive.
Thank you.
Further comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Pose same sign. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Thank
you,
you.
Mr. Berby. We'll look forward to seeing you next time. Item 3.6, All True Sports and Aquatics Complex, CMAR. Mr. Phelan.
Council President Sandy and members of the committee whole. I have members of the team here that's been selected, and that's in front of you. That's McGough in partnership with Construction Engineers. And so McGough is the lead firm with Construction Engineers as their, we'll call it their sub-partner or sub-consultant. You authorized us to move forward with the construction manager at risk process. We did move forward with that. We advertised the RFQ on April 17th. There was a May 14th deadline. We conducted interviews on last week, Monday, on May 20th. We did put together a panel across the board. So we had Mayor Buczynski was the lead city official. Al Grasser was the professional engineer as part of the selection panel. Bobby Hepper Olson was the registered architect as part of the selection panel. And then Jim Freisted was the contractor. And then we also mixed in some other folks. Maureen Storstead represented the city of Grand Forks. We originally asked Mr. Vian to be on there on behalf of City Council, but he was not able to do that. So ably, Maureen stepped in his regard. Megan Compton from All True. And then finally, George Hellier from the Park District. So we conducted those interviews. We did receive 4 proposals. We did decide to move forward with interviews of all 4 of those entities. All of them were, I'll call it partnerships, in the sense of they had a larger, more national, regional firm tied to a more of a local North Dakota firm, most of those from Grand Forks. So that was kind of the nuance with that. The committee recommended McGough and Construction Engineers. Why did they recommend them? And it was unanimous among all 7 members that scored the sheets that are in the packet. They were impressed with the projects they had completed that were similar to what we're trying to do here with the Indoor Sports and Aquatics Center. The most recent project they're just finishing, I think there's a groundbreaking this week or next, is the Fargo sports facility that the Park District and Sanford Health is leading. So that was probably the most near-term project. So they were impressed with how they could move from that project. That's been a success, and you see a letter of reference from the Fargo Park District and to move to this facility. The one thing that's different with this facility, our facility has an aquatic facility, and their team demonstrated aquatic experience too. And to include the West Fargo Aquatic Center and some other facilities. So they were seen as the best firm. The panel was also impressed with not only the projects that they had put together, the team, but also they had done some due diligence and looked at various projects throughout the upper Midwest and had shown a keen interest in the project. So with all that being said, they were the #1 firm among all the 7. And so that's the firm that we have in front of you. What we have in front of you for the project itself is, as you recall, generally what we've done over the last several construction manager at risk projects is that we've asked to come forward with a pre-construction agreement to move forward with that, and that's what's in front of you right now for $195,000 to move forward with pre-construction. In this case, pre-construction will assist us as we're currently in schematic design. I anticipate we'll be back here in August/September of this year with a schematic design with a budget. With the construction manager, we'll have had an opportunity then to really look at the construction costs as we come back here in August, September. The $195,000 as part of pre-construction goes not only through schematic design, which will end in September, but it also goes through design development and up to bidding. And so at sometime probably in May, June of next year, we'll be in front of you wanting to move forward with the project and bidding. If you continue to want to move forward with the construction manager at risk, you'll have a GMP. You'll have certain percentages that they want, and you'll have to approve those. But tonight, you're approving the pre-construction agreement so that we can have them join the team, work on the various constructability aspects of this project, work on the construction estimates, and do the various value engineering so that we can bring in as much of a project as we can afford, and do that sooner rather than later. Most times when we brought a construction manager in here, we're probably at 20 to 40% of design, and so we're bringing this construction manager in sooner rather than later than we did with other projects as we move forward. Council President Sandy, I know you're a skeptic on some of these things, so one of the questions you've asked me is, how do I know that $195,000 is the right number? And so there's certainly benchmarks we could use. There's metrics, and there's probably a little bit of art. I would say for most of these firms, they're going to charge you an incremental amount because what they want to do is be part of your team, go through the pre-construction process, and then ultimately have the project move forward through construction as a construction manager at risk. So really the least we spend up front is in the pre-construction, which is the most important. So we want to hire the best firm that can get us the best estimate they can, the best way to construct this facility, and put together the best team that we can. The dollar amount is $195,000. As part of their proposal, they propose that 0.2% of the construction cost, the grand construction cost, which we're estimating with all the things that are in there, would be $106 million. 0.2% gets you to $212,000. And so what we've done is I went back to them and say if we could, because likely we're not going to be able to get to the $106 million on a construction cost. And so we brought that down to $195,000. We've done that in a variety of ways, and one is as part of their team, and you can, if you look at their RFQ submittal, they've also put on their team, which was impressive to the panelists, is they put some aquatic experts as part of their team. We have some really great currently aquatic experts locally. As you know, as part of the architectural team, we have Water Technologies Incorporated as part of our team. And so we said maybe we don't need them as a primary, but maybe as a real slight complement to this. So trying to cut some costs in front of this. Just giving you some recent examples, and these are engineering examples. The agreement that you have in front of you, this is an architectural-led project. And most of the projects that we get to work on with the City of Grand Forks are more meat and potato kind of things, like water treatment plants and wastewater treatment plants. So this is an architectural-led project. The water treatment plant, we moved forward with a construction manager at risk, and in that case, it was a joint venture with Ullman Schutte, was the national firm, and Construction Engineers was the local. That project, we had a pre-construction agreement of $525,000. And that was about 0.75% is I think what we negotiated right now of construction costs. So we're less in that vein. The most recent one is, or I should say that was between 0.5 and 1. So that's generally where we've been. With 195 is about 0.18%. So we're lower on that. But again, this is not an industrial project. Your most recent project is with PKG, and we signed a pre-construction agreement, then now we're in construction with them, so we did move forward with that. Their pre-construction fee was $525,000. The water treatment plant pre-construction fee was $585,000. So again, those are probably similar in construction costs to this facility. However, those facilities were much more industrial in scale than this facility. It's certainly the aquatic facility is going to have lots of engineering related to it. The span of the indoor sports facility is going to have some serious engineering, but I'm not going to say it's an equivalent to a wastewater treatment plant or a water treatment plant, but a reasonable equivalent. So I think we've negotiated a reasonable fee. And before you ask any questions, I wanted to introduce you to the team so that if you are so inclined to move forward, you'll see some of these folks to move forward. So I asked them to come forward and maybe introduce themselves, who they work for, and what role they'll play as part of not only pre-construction, but also as part of the construction of the facility itself.
Push the button on the right. I need to do it too, right?
This one?
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome.
Welcome.
Thank you for having us. Thank you for the recap. That was very good. So my name's Spencer Hildy. I'm the general manager for McGough Construction here in North Dakota. My role on the project is going to be principal in charge. I'll be involved from, already when awarded all the way through the bidder end, through the warranty, always available. I will make sure that you have the resources that we promised to the project and required along the way so that we get the job done in accordance with the documents and the specifications. And then if we don't want, I'll run through, save everybody the walk. But Rich Slagle with McGough Construction, he is in charge of community development, client advocate. Mike Dunn with construction engineers, similar role on the construction engineer side. And then I'm going to go to Ben Matson with Construction Engineers. He is going to be the project executive. You will see him at any different updates we have, either in these chambers. Throughout the project, he's going to be a step closer than myself to the project. He'll be in all the OAC meetings, start to finish through the pre-construction design phase, all the way through the warranty and closeout as well. Oliver Finneman with McGough is going to be your point of contact day-to-day for the pre-construction design phase. And then Brian Lambrecht is going to be senior project manager with McGough. He will be your point of contact for the day-to-day when we get into construction phase. So any questions on
Spencer, I'm sorry, what was your last name? You told us and I forgot already.
Hildy?
Hildy, thank you,
Yep.
Spencer. Anyone have questions for Mr. Hildy? I have a quick question for you. For the athletic complex that you're building in Fargo with the Park District,
Yes.
were you awarded a pre-construction contract like this as well?
Yes.
Do you remember what
do you remember the
what
figure?
they charged you?
I know we were 200 something on the initial one. It was a little different there. It was Sanford
Yeah.
paid the bill.
Sure, I know.
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
aware, and they won't tell us what they're paying. That's why I'm asking you if you tell me.
It was north of 200,000
Do you know what the total cost was?
on the entire project.
Yeah,
Current GMP, is that?
more than 100 million?
Yes.
Thank you, appreciate it. Anyone else have any questions? Mr.
I'll move approval.
Moves approval, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ken Veen, thank you. Further comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. 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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. Thanks for being here this
Thank you.
evening. Look forward to working with you fellows. And I'm sure there are ladies somewhere too. Moving right along. Item 4, city council members, discussion items. Mr. Weigel, anything for the good of the order?
No, thank you, President Sandy.
Ms. Lunsky?
No, thank you.
Mr. Veen?
Nope, thank you.
Mr. Kvami?
No, thank you.
Mrs. Sowski?
I would just like to remind everybody that our meeting starts at 5:30, and everybody's time is valuable. And so next time we have a quorum and certain people don't show up, I'm going to start the meeting because we wouldn't wait for others, so.
Duly noted. Thank you, Mr. Weber. Anything?
I have nothing to follow that.
Yep. I apologize for being 93 seconds late, everyone. If nothing else for the good of the order, is there a motion to adjourn by Osowski, second by
Second.
Weber? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Same sign. We're adjourned. Thank you.
Thanks.